Hola chicos.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Xin chao.
Hola, buenos dias from Barcelona.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us. Feel free to mention where you're from, where you're tuning in from tonight or this morning or this afternoon, because there's a lot of location diversity, it looks like. We are International TEFL Academy, and today, tonight, and tomorrow, we're going to be going over an inside look at ITA's TEFL course and what to expect from week 1 to certification. So we're going to introduce ourselves. We are going to be your guides for tonight. My name is Ambrosia. I'm an admissions advisor at International TEFL Academy. I've been advising here for 4.5 years. I've also been teaching English as a foreign language for almost 13 years. I've taught in China, South Korea, Peace Corps, Georgia, the country, not the state, and also online. So kind of some diversity there as far as locations, and then teaching in person and online. And I'm also an ITA alumni, so I can't see every single person in here, but some of you might know me because I've hosted some ITA alumni meetups in a few different countries, as well as a virtual setting. So welcome. And I think that's everything I wanted to say. This is my first time hosting on this platform, so I'm a little bit nervous. So if I seem nervous, it's only because I am. And with that being said, I'm going to pass the note to my colleague, Sarah.
Awesome. Thanks, Ambrosia. No need to be nervous. It's all good. We're all friends here, right? My name is Sarah. I have an insane title, but essentially I lead our education and services department. So everything you get to experience after you buy a course with the admissions team. Super excited to be here with both Erica and Ambrosia. I've been at ITA for almost 6 years now. And before that, I was teaching ESL abroad in Italy, Chile, Argentina, as well as here in the States after I got my master's degree in TEFL. So I've seen the gamut. I've worked with students from around the world, even though I haven't taught around the world. And I cannot wait to get older and not have to work full time so that I can go back to teaching all across the world. So I miss it right now, but life, you got to climb that corporate ladder for a little while. And I will pass the torch to Erica.
Yeah, hi guys. So I'm Erica. I've been an advisor here 8 or 9 years. I kind of started losing count after year 6. But yeah, I've been working here for a little while now. I've literally heard every single story out there. And so I love hearing people's interest in what got them looking into all of this and where they want to go. So I taught abroad in Spain, and it's kind of funny because I meant to stay there for a year, but I ended up staying for 4 years by completely not planned, just kept renewing my contract. So I can definitely tell you that this is a very addictive lifestyle. And yeah, I am going to be hanging out actually in the Q&A section. So if you look over to the right panel, you'll see that there's a Q&A button. So if you click on that, you can start asking questions as they come up during the webcast. And I will be in there answering all of your questions. And we'll also try to take some time at the end to address some of the most popular questions that came up live on the webcast. So looking forward to it.
So what are we going to cover in today's presentation? So the first thing that we're going to do is focus in primarily on our part-time online TEFL course. It's 11 weeks long. We'll walk you through that and what you're going to actually be doing in the course, what the time expectations are, how to do your best, what are some tips to take into a consideration. And then after that, we'll be looking at the practicum, right? Because the way this course is set up is it's not just, hey, here's information, but it's take that information and let's teach with it and let's practice and let's build your resume so that you have teaching experience on it. After that, we'll talk to you about why ITA is the most sought after certification for teachers around the globe and in virtual classrooms as well. And then we'll end with some success strategies for how to balance the course as it is part-time with your current life and your schedule so that you can make sure that you're successful in all aspects of your life. So here are 4 people, but 3 stories for you of real people that came to ITA and have now been able to get certified and start their career teaching, whether it be online or abroad. And so Maddie, she is now teaching in Japan and is really able to, share her stories with us, as well as Cecilia. She didn't have a degree when she came to us, and she's super successful now in Valencia, Spain. And then our 2 favorite digital nomads, Matt and Pearlie, teach online from all different locations all around the world. And we have tons of other videos that are you're able to look at. John just shared the link at the top. But what we really want to show you guys is that these are real people who started exactly where many of you right now probably are. They all have different backgrounds. They have different goals with what they want to do with their TEFL, with their travel, with their journeys. But they shared the first step of deciding to take a chance and get TEFL certified here at ITA. As Erica mentioned, she's been here a few years longer than I have, but everyone has doubts. I had doubts when I got TEFL certified back in the early 2000s. And those doubts are of all different types. But honestly, we probably can tell you that all of your doubts are things that we can make into a positive and change into reality. So, seeing success stories from our alumni is great. Watching them really helps to make sure that those common fears that you fear or are feeling right now are things that other people have had too, and they've still been successful. So use some of your fears and choose to reframe them instead of dismissing them because, it's completely normal to have a little bit of anxiety or anticipation about a big decision like this. So, no one is too old. I think actually we had somebody that was 90 in the course. Any educational background is going to be successful. Our curriculum's written so you can have been out of high school for years and years and years and start, or you can be a fresh grad from college and still. So, we want people of different backgrounds, different ages in the class. It makes it for a more robust experience. And you're going to get teaching experience here with us. So you don't need teaching experience to get started. To the end. How do you get to being a Matt and Pearlie or a Cecilia? It's a super exciting lifestyle. Like Erica mentioned, it's a little bit addictive. I also am going to plan to go back to it in the future. But, we're here because we've all done it. We get the excitement. We get that it can be a little overwhelming at first, but we've got answers for you and we've got tips and tricks and, like I just said, answers to all of your questions. So get ready, buckle in, because the rest of the presentation tonight, tomorrow, yesterday, I don't know, wherever you are, is about understanding how this course works and how we get people to imagine a life and take that into actually living it. So super excited to have you guys join us today.
So TEFL is a very handy certification to have. As you can see here, we have a few examples of what it can look like and why it matters. So there are definitely some financial benefits to getting a TEFL certification, especially coming through our program, because if you're going into these different positions, there are different benefits financially and just living perks that are honestly super awesome. So financial benefits we can see here in top money making markets, teachers can save between $200 and $1,200 USD per month. This is true. So if you're looking at different places like the United Arab Emirates, China, South Korea, I'm going to use those 3 as an example. Financially amazing because they pay for your housing as part of your teaching contract. If you're not paying for housing each month, you'd be shocked at how much money you can save without having that as a bill. It's pretty great. Additionally, there are some countries that offer pension plans for US citizens, healthcare coverage in some countries. So it's definitely worth having that job support so you can explore the different details of different teaching contracts in different places so you're not missing out on the best ones. Um, let's see, realistic way to see the world. This is also true. So if you're going to live somewhere, it's definitely different than doing the all-inclusive resort experience in Cancun, where you're just like at the swim up bar all week long and you're not seeing any other parts of the city or the town or the country in general. You're really having this immersive experience when you're living abroad and part of the community, and you don't need to know the language. You can pick it up. And I know that probably sounds crazy. I'm from Indiana, so a lot of things sound crazy to me. Um, but it's true, like just going into like the corner store and greeting the staff or like meeting your colleagues and just interacting with your students, you pick up quite a bit of the culture and the language. And it's a wonderful experience. I honestly can't say enough about it, enough good things about it. Meaningful work. It is meaningful. So when I personally started teaching, my students that I had my first year teaching, they are graduated college now, and I had them in middle school. So that's a really long time ago. um, and it's fantastic. Like your students, they'll tell you why they want to learn English. For some people, it's so they can understand Hollywood films better. So just, something so they can enjoy that a bit more. Whereas others, it's career motivated, like they have a certain job. I personally had a student in South Korea named George, and he wanted to be a pilot for Lufthansa. He's in high school now, so he's still working toward that goal. But that's why he wants to learn English, is because to be a pilot for Lufthansa, he said you have to be fluent in English, which that's amazing. I get to be a small part of his journey to doing that. So it's really cool how you can see the piece that you play in the lives of your students. As far as what it looks like, so global classrooms, you can move overseas for a full-time position or volunteer in your local community. This is a very large conversation topic just because you can teach in person full-time or in person part-time, or you can teach online full-time or online part-time, or teach in the US. I know that I personally just finished up teaching with a migrant couple who they have a business in the USA, and they're wanting to learn more conversational English as well as business English to enhance their business outreach. And that was awesome. I mean, they're a wonderful couple. But then I've also taught in a private boarding school in China and a private language school in South Korea, but then also a public school in Georgia, but then also online during COVID and then after COVID. So, like, that's just my experience personally. And I'm just one person. So you could imagine what it looks like for everybody who does this. And it's fantastic because it doesn't have to be a one size fits all experience. You can really curate it to what you're looking to do. Career diversity. This is also true. So you can work for major organizations like the Peace Corps or start a side hustle through private tutoring. Private tutoring, especially if you're in a place like, I'm just going to say Europe, which that's huge. Obviously, many countries there. Private tutoring is opportunities in abundance because you have, positions that you do during the day, but then there are also people that are looking to further invest in their English education by paying for private tutoring sessions. So it's a wonderful market to do outreach in. Additionally, Asia and Latin America, also fantastic places to private tutor. That's just one example. We actually have, which I'm sure we will talk about this more later because I know we will, a specialty course for tutoring. And I highly recommend checking that out. If you haven't talked with your advisor yet and you're interested in tutoring, that is worth having a conversation because it is a 2-week asynchronous part-time deep dive into tutoring in this industry. And it's worthwhile checking out if you're interested in that. Also, yes, Peace Corps. I mean, I get students personally as an advisor that are like, well, my wife is this nationality, and so we want to move over there to be with her family, but I'm not really into teaching. And it's like, yes, it's good if you are interested in teaching, if you plan to be a teacher, but do you need to be completely in love with it and make it your whole career path? Honestly, no, because Some countries you can qualify for other types of visas down the line. That's a bit of a deep dive. It's not every country. You really have to look at the finer details of that. But it's nice because you get your foot in the door. If you love teaching, this is a wonderful career path. But if you're not super passionate about it, it can get your foot in the door for other career paths. So keep that in mind. You can talk with your advisor more on that. Digital freedom, teach English online from anywhere in the world. Yes. So we just saw on a previous slide, Matt and Pearlie. It's kind of funny because when I moved to South Korea, they were also moving to South Korea. And this was right around COVID time. And so we were all in South Korea at the same time. And now they have since traveled to multiple countries teaching online. I've been advising here at ITA. So you can see like we were both in the same place at once and then our paths kind of split and they're teaching from, they've taught in India, Turkey, South Korea. There are definitely places I'm missing because it's like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That is Matt and Pearlie. And we do have videos on them in our video library. And if you don't know how to access our video library, chat with an advisor and they can send you the link. So I'm not going to lie to you. I definitely took down some notes on this slide because we have quite a few accolades that we've been awarded at International TEFL Academy. And I know that sounds like I'm fluffing my own feathers, but I'm not. I just can't remember the names of every single one. So what is it like being part of this community? It's a gold standard of TEFL certification. I know that's like, of course you would say that. You would work there. No, but listen, I didn't always work here. And I was in Peace Corps before I joined this community. So I do know that there are other avenues in this industry that are, I don't want to say as good because that sounds wrong, but I'll let you fill in the blanks of what I mean. But this is the gold standard. And so we've been around for 15 years. It's been 15 years of community excellence. We have a proven track record in international education. You can read our reviews on goabroad.com, Google, as well as other sources. We have over 50,000 success stories with our students getting certified, going into jobs. They teach in over 80 countries. And we also have expert guidance. So our whole staff, living and teaching abroad, teaching online, teaching in person, multiple countries. We have people that have taught in the Middle East, Oceania online, Europe, Latin America, North America, Asia. Did I even say that? That's like my whole thing. But wait, let me read the name of the award. And I know this is probably like, how do you not know the name? Trust me, because we've won so many awards in my time of knowing about International TEFL Academy that I can't remember the names of every single one. So bear with me. Okay, so recently, within the last 2 weeks, we were nominated by goabroad.com for 2 awards, Best Student Video and Top TEFL Organization. So again, you can check out our reviews to see a bit more about us, about International TEFL Academy. Again, if you go to our Instagram, even if you're like, I don't want to follow you, that's fine. You can like look at our day in the life videos from our alumni so you could at least see like, what is their experience like? Because if you're interested, that's very relevant to what you're researching. And next up on our list of things that we're going to do, Erica, our great friend here, is going to launch a poll, and we're wondering what best describes your current situation.
Just posted I know I got so excited to post the poll that I was like, oh, I have to mute myself too so I can talk about these results. Oh my goodness. So just posted the poll and we've got a few different options here. It looks like the votes are pouring in pretty quickly. Already got quite a few people who say they want to teach abroad or online in a year or two. Let's see here. I'm not sure I want to teach English abroad or online. I want to get certified and teach abroad as soon as possible. Awesome. It's fun to see these results pour in. Let's see, I'll give it another few seconds here for some people to get in last votes. Let's see what people say.
This is a great example of how different people that come through our program have different goals and how we can help you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it looks like the majority here. So we've got some people who are just looking into this, and that's totally okay. But it looks like right now the winner is I want to teach abroad or online in a year or two, which is perfect because when you take your TEFL certificate with us, it never expires. So you're literally just like checking off checklist item number one, and that then you're only going to have the fun steps left of actually getting abroad. So if anything crazy happens in the world and all of a sudden your timeline expedites, all you got to do is work with a job search advisor. Your course is already done. You can just get the heck out of the country. Yeah, or if you want to teach online, before you leave is always a good way to go about it as well. And then we do have a fair chunk of people here now too who are pouring in the votes that they want to get certified and teach abroad as soon as possible. So I think we should make it happen. If any of you, so those of you who are attending today, you do have an admissions advisor who can help you with any questions that you have and also with getting enrolled in the course. So if you don't know who your advisor is, I recommend sending an email to info@internationalteflacademy.com. It's info@internationalteflacademy.com to find out who your advisor is. And then that way we can help you out with next steps. So thanks for participating, everybody.
Thank you, Erica, for showing the poll. And yeah, so now we kind of know where everybody is, what their goals in our chat tonight. But as you can see here, so launching your TEFL career with ITA, we have multiple options for classes. So these columns, there's a lot of information here. You're probably like, what does this mean? So this is a chart of the 3 types of classes that we offer. This is very handy because it's a side-by-side comparison of the different classes as well as what their schedules are like, commitments, total hours, etc. So please take a glance at that while I kind of give a bit more information. So the 11-week online class, it is our most popular course. The reason being it is an asynchronous course. I took this course. It is fantastic. If you are a busy individual, or even if you're not busy, but you have like a job or children or a family to take care of, or I don't know, I've never had a pet, but I'd imagine that's pretty busy. Like you're busy, so you got stuff going on. This is a great class for you. Like I said, asynchronous schedule, it's 170 hours total. 150 of those hours would be the academic coursework, and then 20 hours of practicum, which is hands-on observation and live practice teaching. So this class, because of the flexibility, it is our most popular course. The majority of folks that come through our program, a lot of them just have jobs. They're either working part-time, full-time. I've had a student with 7 kids before, and she was a stay-at-home parent, and she took this class and it worked wonders for her. So this is a really wonderful class. I definitely recommend considering it. But if you're like, wait a second, I need to be abroad like in 5 seconds. Okay, you're not going to get abroad in 5 seconds, but in about 4 weeks, you can be abroad if you take the 4-week online intensive course or even the 4-week in-person course. So I'm going to kind of do like a little combo here, even though one is online and the other is in person. So they're both full-time classes. I'll start with that. Full-time classes. So they are a full-time schedule, going back to online, 170 hours. It is immersive. So there is live time required. You're in the class schedule, which it says right here, Monday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. That is Central Time. So that's Chicago time. So if you're living in Switzerland, I'm going to use Switzerland, which I apologize. I cannot remember who said they were from Switzerland, but somebody did. And maybe a Chicago time zone is not necessarily the most ideal. I mean, I'm sure that that's late at night / early in the morning, maybe a combination. So maybe you're going to explore the 11-week online class because it has an asynchronous schedule with no live time required. That's just an example. And kind of pivoting over to 4-week in person, which I apologize, I'm not doing a complete deep dive on all of these, but you can kind of see the details on the screen here. And again, I recommend you speak with your advisor for more specific details for your situation and which one of these would work best for you. We do have 4-week in-person classes as well. So the 4-week in-person classes, we have them in multiple countries. South Korea, Thailand, Turkey, Italy, Spain, Mexico, Costa Rica, Japan. Like we have even more than that, but I'm just naming a few. if you're wanting to go teach in person in a country and you're like, wait a second, I definitely learn better online, or not online, in person, this could be a great fit for you. You're in the class, we cap each class between 12 to 14 students. So it's got a smaller student to teacher ratio. Just so I'm mentioning this, as you can see in the bottom part of the columns, lifetime job search guidance is included in all of these classes. So regardless of which one you choose, you're still going to receive that support from us, which is fantastic, because if you learn better in person, you can take a class in person. If you learn better online, you can take a class online. Again, I say it's not a one size fits all, so we can definitely mold it to what you're looking for. Also, please note the tuition of each class. There is kind of a spectrum for the 4-week in-person classes, uh, because cost of living varies from place to place. And also, this is not including housing. So that's something else to kind of keep in mind. We can assist you with making housing arrangements for the duration of the in-person classes, but the housing prices vary because cost of living varies. So without me going too rambly, talking with an admissions advisor could be of great benefit if this is something that is of interest to you, which it might be because that's why you're here. And so, yeah, now I feel like I'm getting a little chatty. So I'm going to move on. I think that's everything. Oh, and again, which I will bring this up again later, we do have a discount going on the tuition for the 11-week online class, as well as a discount for the 4-week online intensive. And for Mexico, the Guadalajara on-site classes, we have early bird specials on the tuition, which the early bird specials happen year round. So, and that is all I will say about this. But talked with an advisor for more.
All right. So you've heard a lot already. Now you have 3 types of courses. We're going to be diving into that first column right now, which is the 11-week part-time online course. So it's about 3 months of coursework that you'll be doing. But I just want y'all to know, I remember when I was in your shoes, I wasn't in a really great webinar like this, though. Had a lot of doubts, had a lot of concerns, had a lot of like what ifs and am I good enough thoughts. I want you to put aside those obstacles. All right. We have, like Ambrosia said, we can build a path for you. Your admissions advisor that you're going to talk to is going to be able to take all of your concerns and your dreams and help you plot out a plan to do this. So if you're in that group that's like, hey, I want to go now, I want to be there in 6 months, we can make it happen, right? You're going to definitely have to put your head down and work hard. If you're a little bit like, I'm thinking about a year or 2, that's a great timeline as well. And if you don't want to go anywhere and you just want to work online from your home, that's an option too. So put aside those pre-course jitters just for a second and let us tell you about the course, and so that you feel like you're more confident in knowing what you're going to experience, and then what that plan is going to look like for you. All right. So
we do have an example here of what the online class portal looks like. Please take a look at this. So the 11-week online class does operate in a dashboard that is built into our website. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see where it says login. That's actually built into our website. So if you go to our website, which if you're not registered, you obviously wouldn't be able to log in quite yet, but that is where you will log in if you do become a registered student with us. And there are all sorts of things on this dashboard. Referral friend, we do have a referral program where you can receive $100 for every referral that you provide to our school, and they register with our program. The alumni corner, which is a fantastic resource on, the job services and interacting with other alumni. It's just a wealth of knowledge and opportunity and next steps with your plans, all the country info you can imagine, as well as need help, which if you need help, that's a great place to look. I mean, I realize that's kind of vague, but people need all sorts of different questions answered. So that's a great place to start if you have a question, or don't be afraid to reach out to our office. Whichever you feel more comfortable with is fine.
All right, so here we're going to start our deep dive into the course. And so I eat, live, breathe this course. It is probably about 40% of my job, making sure that everything in here is up to current research and is fitting our student needs. So go check it out, grab that guest login as well. But here is an 11-week success schedule for you. So this course is going to take probably 10 to 15 hours per week. If you know that reading takes you a little more time, definitely give a little bit longer for that. You will have a chapter out of our textbook that we have written to read each week, as well as lectures that have been crafted by our wonderful instructors who all have at least a master's or a PhD in teaching English as a foreign language or as a second language, or TESOL, which is to speakers of other languages. So the first thing you're going to do for each of the 11 weeks is you're going to do some reading and you're going to watch these lectures. All right. So plan to spend about 3 to 4 hours to get through all of it. The early bird gets the worm here. So if you are done by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the week with that, you set aside 30 minutes, an hour each night, you're definitely going to be able to get that out of the way. We also really believe in the power of community and the power of engagement at ITA. So each week you're going to have a discussion. We call them peer participation and collaboration. They'll probably take you about an hour. I know I've seen the meme online. Oh, post and respond to 2 peers. You know, it's online ed, and there's a lot to be learned about posting about your experiences, posting about what you're working on for your task that week, going online and researching and creating a directory of resources for what are you going to do in those last 5 minutes when your lesson plan goes too quick. So I want you to put aside all of those beams and definitely lean into our peer participation and collaboration. They're also not required. So if you really hate that, you don't have to do it. But don't tell your teacher I told you that. You also have a weekly quiz. Okay. This quiz isn't going to be about what the readings were. Okay. So if you've done the readings, you totally are going to pass the quiz. You also get 5 attempts to get that 100%. Most of our quiz questions are going to be multiple choice. And so you'll have a pretty good shot. The system, our course management platform, will tell you which ones you got right and wrong, and you'll only make you answer the wrong ones again. So that's really easy. The written tasks. So every week you will have a major assignment to turn in. They are due on Sunday. So if the week starts on Monday, you have until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Central Time to turn that in. It's really the heart of the course. It's where you're going to be taking that information that you learned by watching the readings and the lectures, reading your instructor's advice and announcements, going through what you learned in the discussion, to really take that knowledge and put it into practice. So you're going to be analyzing lesson plans, you're going to be creating lesson plans, you're going to be reflecting on things, looking at learner levels, all of these different pieces so that you feel ready to walk into your practicum teaching in your first classrooms with just a great portfolio of work that you can use and rely on. You're going to want to spend some time on these, okay? So if you're leaving it till Sunday, plan to put your head down. I know I work best under the procrastination pressure, but I do recommend starting early because your instructors have live office hours. And so if you at least know what your questions are going to be, the likelihood of your instructor having those live office hours on like Sunday at 7 p.m. is really low. So if you take a look, you get things done early, you know what you're going to be doing each week. You can go to those office hours, bounce ideas, ask questions, maybe ask them about their teaching experiences as well. So little schedule for you, but we do work on a Monday to Sunday timeline. So while it's asynchronous, it is not just submit when you want. It's not like a MOOC style, okay? So you do have to follow the schedule. We also require that you pass all of those written tasks. And if you don't pass on the first attempt, think of it like a rough draft. Then you have another a little less than a week to finish it up with your instructor's feedback and guidance. All right. So what do these weeks actually look like?
So we have a glimpse of the syllabus here, and you're probably like, what am I going to learn in this class? 11 weeks, right? So here's week to week what you can expect. So there is a grammar module, which is an optional pre-course. I don't want to call it a pre-course task because it's not technically a pre-course task, but it's something for you to look at. Again, optional. It's not for a grade. If you're like, I haven't been in school for X number of years. A lot of people haven't been in school for since they were in high school or college, or whenever they stopped doing school, basically. So a grammar module is a nice way to brush up on grammar rules. Obviously, you can see here that we have chapter 1, role of the teacher. So these are the topics that we're going to be covering here. Creating a student-centered classroom, methods and approaches, lesson planning, course design. We're going to cover Lexis, grammar, listening and reading, speaking and writing, visual aids and technology, cultural sensitivity, which, if you're going to a place that you've never been to the country before, it's always nice to learn about different cultures. So things that may seem like time, for example, if students are running late, that can be perceived as being rude in US culture. However, if you're going to a country where they're a little bit more lenient on punctuality, it's not considered rude there. So we do cover different cultural sensitivity ways in that chapter. We also have a practicum requirement, like we mentioned before, which is student teaching, it's observation. It can also be tutoring. So it's really a way for you to get that hands-on experience, especially if you're taking an online class. And it can be done in person or online, because I know I get asked that question quite a bit. And if you're like, there's no way I'm going to be able to understand the whole syllabus, that's fine. We do have a pre-course task that is a 10-question reading comprehension of the syllabus. So you will get the highlights at least, and you'll understand the highlights based on that. And then you start the class.
Awesome. So Ambrosia just walked us through these, so I'm not going to spend time talking about every week, but feel free to read them. But your first 3 weeks, so weeks 1 through 3, you're really going to build your foundation. So we're going to start at the beginning, right? How can you be an effective teacher? What are things we want to do in the classroom? What are the basic methods and approaches that we use in teaching English as a foreign language or second language? Then the core skills are really going to happen in weeks 4 through 9. So you've got this 5-week block where you're really going to be doing a lot of work. So we want, we're going to ease you in and then we're going to ramp things up. Okay. So lesson planning 101 is going to be happening in here. And then from there in weeks 6 through 9, you're going to master the major skills. So in our industry, we do a lot with words, right? Lexis and vocabulary, grammar, how do we use the language, and then we talk about receptive and productive skills. So receptive, the skills you receive. So we are doing things like reading and listening, and then the skills we produce, the productive skills, so speaking and writing. And we'll walk you through all of those. But yeah, these are the busiest weeks. So you're going to feel a little bit of the beginning, and then we're going to ramp it up. And then we're going to plateau at the end. Okay. So we'll spend the end with the finishing touches, reflecting on your lesson plans, talking about how you're going to use visual aids and technology, as well as that cultural intelligence, just making sure you're ready to, navigate through your experience if you're going to another country, or navigate your students' experience with them if you are teaching students from another culture or location. So you leave the course, again, not just knowing that you've passed, but with also a ton of information and support and portfolio items to help you navigate your practicum. So before we begin talking about the practicum, just a little bit about why ITA is our gold standard and is what makes us a great asset to have in teaching abroad. So we maintain our level 5 accreditation from Ofqual, which is a government agency out of the UK. There is no TEFL accreditor in the United States, right? So we do use United Kingdom based agency to help that. And that level 5 is equivalent to like a 101 or 201 class at most universities. And then the last thing about our course, it is a pass-fail system because we're under this UK matrix. And so I just want you guys to make sure that you know that you have to pass all 93 standards. And it's okay if you don't pass it right away. You'll get instructor feedback and you'll have a second attempt to master it.
Yes. So that's actually a really good point, Sarah, because I know I mentioned to you guys that I took this class. There were times where a lesson planning project, for example, I did not, it wasn't that I failed it, but I didn't get the green light to move ahead on it. And so my instructor, she left very detailed notes, and then I was able to revise it and turn it in, and everything was fine. And it was nice because I was able to see where I could do better with lesson planning. That's honestly something I've always kind of struggled with, was just the lesson planning part, which that probably sounds a little weird, being a teacher, but it happens. But yeah, so here we've got real world experience, the practicum. So the practicum, it's 20 hours of hands-on exposure to ESL instruction. So as far as the practicum itself, like I said, it's a combination of observation and student teaching. It's where you can turn your learning into immediate practice. The coursework that you're learning throughout the class, it is the foundation, whereas the practicum is the reality. It is pretty cool. It's kind of like, I don't know, like putting pedal to the metal. That's probably not the right saying, but you're getting to practice what you just learned, which is fantastic because you just spent this time learning about this thing, teaching English, and now you're actually getting to do it, and you're getting to practice it in a practice environment versus immediately like leaping out of the nest. Instead of leaping out of the nest, you're kind of getting I don't know, help from a falling leaf. So you're drifting slowly to the ground instead of crash landing. There we go. Which is nice because you can get feedback from, the staff on the practicum, as well as your practicum, depending on who you're observing, the person that you're observing, and your students, honestly. As far as the resume went, so you graduate with verified teaching experience already on your resume. So there's no more entry-level hurdles. This is super helpful because you have this experience from doing the practicum, and you can apply that when you're applying for positions and talk about your experience when you're interviewing at places, because it is very relevant. The requirements, so 20 hours total, mix of observing, tutoring, or live teaching. It can be done in person or online, or a combination of both. Minimum 6 hours must be active teaching / tutoring, so teaching or tutoring. And it must be with non-native speakers in a live setting, again, in person or online. So I know sometimes people are like, well, I have one student that speaks Spanish in my class of 30 English speakers. Would that qualify as practicum? So unfortunately, no, it needs to be with full environment, non-native speakers. And if you're confused by that, because I realize I've been talking a lot, and I'm giving you a lot of information, you can talk with our staff, your admissions advisor, super helpful resource. Or if you're not even sure who I'm talking about when I say talk to your admissions advisor, you can reach out to our office, info@internationalteflacademy.com, and we can pair you with an admissions advisor.
Totally. So we want you to be able to feel confident in the practicum. We know it sounds scary. Oh, you got to do these 20 hours, but just know that, you don't have to start it until your course starts or course ends. And if you don't want to, the team that works with me in student affairs that you have access to once you're registered are a super amazing asset to help you. They've got great guides and how-tos, and a future video is coming out shortly about finding a practicum location. So please don't let this intimidate you at all. We also have Facebook groups available for finding practicum locations. And your instructors will also have great ideas about locating areas in the community or online if you're interested in working with them. And then it's really easy once you've finished your practicum to submit and get your certificate, which means, our guide is done, because then you're certified once your practicum is approved, which is fantastic. So some success strategies that we promised we would talk about: master your calendar. All right. So that 10 to 15 hours, make sure that you're chunking away a little bit at it. Don't leave it all for Sunday evening, or you're going to email your instructor frantically asking for an extension. Definitely think about starting your practicum hunt early. Don't have to start teaching, but just start thinking about, how do I want to boost my resume? Do I want to work in my community? Do I want to work online? Definitely take advantage of the live opportunities in the course. You'll have a calendar where you can attend all of the instructors' lectures, as well as your instructor's office hours. Leverage the ITA community. There's over 50,000 graduates. It's a 24/7 support system that you can look to them for ideas and opportunities. And then please embrace the draft mindset. I know the pass-fail grading system is difficult to get in under your gosh, it is too late for me. I'm such a better morning speaker. The 93 standards. If you're ever, it hurts when you're told you failed something, but don't take that to heart. It's a drafting process. Okay. So just make sure that you take that mindset, and you will be very, very successful.
Before the specialty courses, I know I briefly mentioned the tutoring English specialty course. We have multiple specialty courses here. I know sometimes my students are like, well, isn't the TEFL course going to prepare me to teach English? Yes, but sometimes people don't want to all teach the same type of English. So it's nice to have these little deeper dives into specific areas of study, like foundations of English grammar. Honestly, anybody that is speaking English, native speakers, non-native speakers, we could all probably use this class because it is a 4-week course that's looking at the foundations of English grammar. So you're really taking a deep dive into grammar and everything involved with that, which your brain's probably like, what does that even mean? There's a lot. That's why it's 4 weeks. All of these classes will be part-time courses, asynchronous schedules. As you can see here, we also have teaching English to young learners. So this is great if you're teaching students 12 years of age and younger, teaching business English. I know sometimes they get people that have their own businesses and they're just looking to retire, maybe to Portugal or Thailand, and they want to teach business English. This is a nice little resume booster for them. Teaching test prep skills. That's handy for anybody who's teaching, really. Odds are your students will have a test at some point. Teaching English online. This one is honestly my favorite because as someone who's been teaching online for a long time, I have used this class specifically to boost my starting salary in different teaching positions. And honestly, you could probably do that with any of these, but I have really worked that with this Teaching English Online specialty course, and I love it. Tutoring English, we spoke about that a bit before. Please note the length of these classes. All of them are 2 weeks, except for Foundations of English Grammar, because you can't fit grammar into 2 weeks. It's got to be at least 4. Prices are going to vary, and it's nice because, please note those prices. If you bundle these at checkout with your TEFL course, you can save $80 on the tuition for the specialty course. So just something to keep in mind. And again, you can do a payment plan with these as well. You just need to talk to your admissions advisor and they can help you set that up.
Okay. My other favorite part of ITA. So you get to talk to an admissions advisor who's done this, but then after you enroll, you get access to student affairs and our lifetime job search guidance. And they've all done it too. And so what we do is we help guide you to find a job. So we're going to help you every step of the way, but you're going to be the one doing the work because, like Erica said, she stayed in Spain. Ambrosia's been all over the world. I have too. So you need to know how to get that job yourself, and Student Affairs is going to help you get there. Okay. So you've got a ton of resources, ongoing support, and it lasts a lifetime. So maybe you decide to go to Southeast Asia at first, and then you want to go to Latin America later. Come back and talk to us. As once a student, always a student here at ITA.
So one of the best parts about International TEFL Academy is definitely you're joining a global community. This picture on the left here, so this person probably looks familiar on the bottom left because that's me. and I was hosting an alumni meetup in Seoul, South Korea. Weirdly enough, we were in an Irish pub. So we're in an Irish pub in Asia, drinking Irish beer in South Korea. But it was a great time. We played darts. Some people did billiards, and it was just a really great time. People came from all over the area. And I actually hosted another one of these on the other coast in South Korea. I've hosted an online alumni meetup. So you can do these anywhere in the world. And it's great for networking. You know, people went to music festivals together after this, farmers markets, flag football league. Like, it's nice having people that get where you're coming from and get that we're all new here. We've all been new at some point. And so just having connection, support. I've personally celebrated holidays, every holiday you can imagine, with ITA alumni in different countries around the world, and it's been great. You can also look at our website or our Instagram or both to see different alumni takeovers. We do have videos on both, especially the Instagram, because I believe we have an alumni takeover, one of our alumni in Thailand, and that is starting, and I'm going to get it confused because of the time zone difference. It's either, I think it's tonight/tomorrow, but today, Thailand time. So if you're over on that part of the world, it's right now for you, baby. So you go check that out. You can join the Facebook groups. We do have Facebook groups. If you're like, my grandma's on that, that's fine. You can be on it too and get all the info from the Facebook groups. We do have different alumni contests, video contests, I don't know. We have a lot of different contests. So that's something you will definitely be included in on. There are different prizes for that. And the Alumni Corner, which is honestly such a huge benefit, especially like professional resources. I cannot speak enough. Like, the whole point of doing this, getting certified, is because you want to get a great job and have this amazing experience. This will give you that. All of these little building blocks will be the foundation of that for you. So I really can't stress that enough. Where to go from here. So we are about wrapping up our evening or morning. Again, time zones are crazy with all of us, but you can connect with an ITA advisor. If you're still like, I don't know who that is, please reach out to our office. You can email us, info@internationalteflacademy.com. TEFL is TEF, like family, L. And we'll hook you up with an admissions advisor, and you can start working with them immediately. It'll be great. You'll get your questions answered. You'll get, the yellow brick road will look a lot more vivid for your journey. You can get personalized guidance. So explore your goals, timeline, and options with advisors. As you saw tonight, people have different goals for what they want to get out of this. And so we can work with you on whatever path you're wanting to go down. And it's very helpful. And you can choose the right TEFL course for you. So as you saw, we have a few options. And if you're not sure which one to choose, you can talk with us. We can help you get it figured out.
I'm back. Yeah, I was in hiding there for a little bit. I was literally typing that the whole time. We have a very engaged audience, which is great to see. Yeah, so we did have quite a few different questions that were coming up. Some were related to like the job search guidance. Some were related to the actual course itself. Yeah, can I throw some of the frequent questions at you guys?
Please do.
Woohoo! What a great way to end your night, right? Some surprise questions. So one question I did get quite a few times over is people were curious about like the difference between curriculum versus lesson plan. So some of them were asking like, is the school going to provide the curriculum, but I still have to do lesson planning, or do I have to do the curriculum and the lesson planning? And they're just kind of wondering what the differences are. If someone can dive into that a little bit.
Sure, I would love to start, and then Ambrosia interrupt me and chime in as well. So yeah, generally, depending on what type of position you get, but if you are getting a position with a school, whether it be public or private, generally for youth as well, you will get a curriculum that you'll be working with. Will there be like day-by-day lesson plans? Probably not. I was given a textbook. produced by the Ministry of Education. And I knew I needed to get the students through that textbook during the semester, right? And so within the other co-teachers, we kind of broke it down, but I was still doing lesson planning because no one likes to sit at their desk and do work out of a textbook, right? So I was finding ways to make the activities into games, making sure that we're addressing the content. How can we make the reading come to life, those kinds of things. So lesson planning is kind of the day-by-day piece. The curriculum is going to be the larger piece. If you're working with adults, especially with organizations, they might expect you to create the curriculum as well. But we cover that we cover lesson planning in chat week 4 and curriculum in week 5. So you'll definitely be ready to take it on.
Amazing. You answered that 20 times better than I was answering it. So thank you. I was like, I have to have Sarah answer this.
Love it.
That is perfect. Another question that was coming up, and Ambrosia, you might even have some experience with this too from having taken the course so recently, is people are very jazzed about live lectures, which I do think is definitely a huge perk with us, is just the fact that people can attend live lectures and even view recordings later, and that they're led by professors. And so I'm glad to see that people are looking at that. But yeah, I think people were trying to figure out like, okay, so how do I learn about when the live lectures are going to take place? Like what frequency are they? And I was explaining that different professors, they're going to have different live lectures at different times. The recordings will get posted as well so that they can view the recordings. I even mentioned too, I think we take like some of the top live lectures and even post those. But yeah, if there are any little pieces of information that you guys would be willing to share more about with the live lectures, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you guys a secret. There is a section on the dashboard where you can access the entire live lecture calendar and see what the topic is, who's giving the lecture, what time it is, and what day it is. And you can have access to that for the rest of your life if you want, because the live lectures, the platform that they're done through, you can access them forever if you really wanted to. And maybe you do. I mean, they're a fantastic resource. You have a professional who's giving you guidance on these specific topics. That is probably my biggest piece of advice on the live lectures is if you end up signing up with us, you get access to that dashboard. You can see the entire calendar. And even if there's a topic where you're like, I am not really there yet, someone is going to circle back and talk about that eventually, because we have multiple classes going on at one time. So we have multiple instructors teaching these different topics throughout the whole year. And so just because you're not ready to talk about lesson planning now doesn't mean that you won't be in 5 weeks. So 5 weeks from now, one of the instructors, odds are they're going to be doing a live lecture on it. And yeah, I mean, they're a fantastic resource. And it's nice because you can get different pieces of advice from different instructors, because all of these instructors have their own experiences and they kind of like introduce these topics within the larger topic. So you really gain a lot from going to those different live lectures. And we also record live lectures. So if you're not too sure about whether or not you can, if it's bingo night, guilty, access the recordings later on, can reach out to our office and we can send you a recording.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I just looked at the calendar. 7 live lectures happening this week. 5 are happening outside of that 9 to 5 time frame. And then the rest are like at lunchtime or in that like later afternoon. So for those of you that are working, there are still a lot of opportunities to go and attend live, because our instructors do know that most of our students are doing this along with other things. So
amazing. And I think the same is even true with the office hours, right? Because a few people were asking about that too. Yeah, like if they can't attend those specific hours, I'm sure they can just like reach out to the professor.
Yeah, definitely. Our instructors want to know you guys as students. It's as hard for us to teach online as it is for you guys as students to create community online. So the more faces that they can see virtually and those conversations, the happier they are as well. So they're never going to hesitate to take the time to meet with you if you're not able to attend the office hours that week.
Amazing. And to the person who asked if they can interact with their teacher during live lectures, I am very happy to say that there is a webcam feature. And they probably will call on you too. I'm pretty sure Ambrosia mentioned that in some live lectures, the professors even call on students. So there might be some guaranteed interaction with that.
Yeah, in week 1, we're going to talk about limiting teacher talking time. And the last thing our instructors want to do is sit and talk to you for an hour without any engagement. So if you go, cameras on, please. They want to see your lovely faces. Obviously, you don't have to if you're driving or other things, but they're definitely going to be wanting you guys to answer questions or give ideas, those kinds of things.
Amazing.
And you can see your peers, because another great thing about this is you have 19 other people in the class with you that are all starting this journey around the same time. And they can be also very great professional resources. You guys can start your own little WhatsApp group, or I know sometimes people will become like Instagram friends or TikTok friends. There's just a lot you can do with that. WeChat, that's another one. I believe that's China, if I'm not mistaken.
Amazing. That is extremely helpful. Thank you guys. Even as I'm scrolling through to like see if I missed anything, most of the questions were related to the live lectures. So those answers were super helpful. I'm gonna take one last little scroll, but I think we hit all the big points. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I hope that you found this helpful, and it was nice getting to interact with you all. Please reach out to an admissions advisor if you're wanting more information. We are so happy to help you.